In a world where the questions are more important than the answers, I've still got a whole bunch of questions. Megalopolis just hit theaters this weekend. We watched it, so you don't have to. Let's talk about it. Megalopolis, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Adam Driver, Natalie Emmanuel, Shia LaBeouf, Aubrey Plaza, among others. If you're looking for a star-studded cast, look no further. This movie has it. And basically, this movie follows Caesar as he's trying to, change New Rome and take it into a future past as he, faces his rival, the mayor, played by Giancarlo Esposito, who has a different opposing view that, things should stay the way that they are. Um, and this movie does a very good job of mimicking what we have here in America today. Greed, capitalism, social media, the way people act in front of other people, uh, how it differs when they act among people they care about in their own personal lives. Um, and I like this movie. I enjoyed this movie. A lot of people are gonna are not gonna like this movie, but personally, I believe it did a very good job. This movie, I believe, is a visual masterpiece. I know everything's not gonna hit with people. Clear green screen, still CGI. I get it, but still, from a technical standpoint, I believe this movie was a beautifully shot movie. I believe everyone's doing a great job. Um, Everyone acting in this movie. Adam Driver as a lead man. Before I go on to that, Adam Driver is probably my favorite part about this movie. Obviously, he's the main character, but I believe he does a very, very, very good job of being that lead role. Aubrey Plaza. That's all I have to say. I'm not even. We're not gonna talk about her. She's doing great. She's doing great. You know what I mean? She's doing
Killing it,
great.
bro. She's killing it.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorite parts about this movie. Um, but yes, no, this movie definitely did a great job, I believe, of setting up the questions, and it's up to us to answer those questions. Um, you know, and I don't think it was a bad movie. I don't think it deserves what everyone else is saying about it, but at the same time, this is solely my opinion. There's a lot more I liked about this movie than I didn't like. Not to say this movie didn't have its problems or there wasn't certain spots that were messy. Like this movie did have, I feel, messy spots in it, but it didn't detract from the overall theme of the movie. Um I believe this movie just did a very good job in the very first half of the movie. In the second half, it could be a little bit more messy, but still sticking with the themes of the first half and still, still delving into those questions. And I know people are looking for answers, but like I said, in my opinion, I feel like those answers are for us to find. I don't think he wanted to tell us how we should feel about these things. I think he wants us to decide how we feel about these things. But now that I went on my long tangent, Eli, what did you think?
New Rome,
New Rome.
an empire about to fall.
It looks like it.
Um, Again, just to emphasize on your earlier point, the cinematography was fire.
Fire.
That was definitely my favorite aspect of the film. Um, there were just so many like trippy moments. I think my favorite, and this is I'm not gonna not really a spoiler, but they go into this transitioning scene where he's like doing his designs and it's like animated. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking
Yeah,
about?
yep, yep.
Like that transition and then back to, you know, the regular world. Like that shit was just
It was nice, right?
it was crazy. It was good.
Yeah.
Um, in saying that, uh, it does pose a lot of questions. It does, tackle a lot of, real world issues that, are plaguing us. However, I do have to ask you, Will, don't you think there's a simpler way to pose those questions? We were getting, and I feel like in the middle of posing those questions, there was a lot of unnecessary babble. Like there were scenes where they were quoting philosophers for like 5 minutes, and I didn't see how it related to the story it was trying to tell. Like that part felt pretentious. Um, but I mean, in saying that, I still overall enjoyed the movie. Like, yes, I feel like it was pretentious, it was highbrow, but the questions it asked were good. I feel like those questions could have been asked in a simpler, easier way for the general masses to understand. I'm not saying I understood all of it. It's a complex film for sure.
I think
Um,
I think it's a complex film, but it's not. I mean, a lot of the themes and a lot of the things that it was trying to say was, I feel, very easy to pick up on. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a reason why it's like this epic tale. And I mean to cut you off because I'm gonna let you finish what your thoughts are. But the reason why it's this epic tale is because, I mean, people gravitate towards blockbusters and things like that, so they see this grander scale thing. And Francis Ford Coppola made this big movie just to tell this very simple, you know what I'm saying, like allegory to what the real USA is like right now. Like, are we the new Rome that's about to fall? Is America about to fall right now? You get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
but the problem with that is it's not groundbreaking. Like those comparisons have been made a lot, bro. But when you make that comparison and you do it in such a complicated way, it kind of I just feel like it loses footing a little bit. Like
I get what you're saying.
obvi- obviously, yeah, okay, there's a lot of similarities between Rome and the current United States. The correlation between a great empire that's going to fall due to greed and the lack of evolution. Like, I mean, I feel like that's just a basic concept, you know.
I mean, I get
Um,
it.
but I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. In between that, a lot of it just felt complicated. Like I don't see why we needed to. There were literal scenes where they were just talking. Like I don't understand what it had to do with the plot or what he was trying to say. Literally just quoting philosophers, and acting like it meant something when really I don't think it meant anything in relation to the story.
I think I I need to watch the film again because I can't remember the exact quote you're talking about, but I believe the situation was like, you're talking about the one at without getting too spoiler. This might be a little spoilery. I just need a little bit of context. You're talking about the one at the dinner table when they're both quoting philosophy.
They're both quoting Nietzsche or no Marcus Aurelius.
Exactly.
Aurelius.
Yeah. So they were at the
No,
dinner
no,
table.
no, that one was simple, bro. That one was simple. That was because that was talking about, um, striving for a better future and that obviously that's
Right.
I see how that's in relation to the movie.
Absolutely.
Um, but no, I'm talking about like okay. Also, another thing I want to say because this popped into my head, like it would go from like these super deep philosophical scenes to like just these like cheesy one-liners. It just felt
Bombastic,
yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
set
Just
pieces,
like
crazy shit going on. I mean, I could agree with you, bro. I agree with
it
you.
just felt messy, bro. It felt very messy.
I feel like the second half was more messy than the first half. The first half I felt was actual, like, where you get the meat of what you're watching, and the second half, and I've seen it said before. I've seen it said, and I agree with it. It does feel rushed. It feels a little bit more rushed than the first half of the movie. And honestly, this feels like it could have been like a 6 hour miniseries, 1 hour episode each type. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like this could have been.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
getting a little bit more exploration. Because I mean to cut you off, but the exploration of the rivalry between the mayor and Caesar. You know what I'm saying? I
But even then, I feel like it's a very simple rivalry to understand.
Yeah, but just the complexities. just more of the complexities behind it instead of it being so surface level and then the problem being resolved like 10 minutes at the end. You get what I'm saying? Like I wish there was a little bit more complexity in that. There's a lot of complex questions and a lot of complex scenarios, but this movie didn't take the time to go deeper into things that they should have gone deeper in. And agreeing with you is like, what are some of these pointless spots of dialogue or some of these scenes in here didn't have to be in here and could have been used for more exploration into the world, why, like exactly the dueling ideologies between the mayor and Caesar. Like we could have explored that a little bit more. And I feel like we only seen the rich upper class point of view and never really got to see what it was like for the people at the very bottom. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like we seen some like little here and there moments, but this movie
with
was,
Shia, mostly with Shia LaBeouf's character.
yeah. But it was mainly like like about the elites and like the elites' perspective. Like this wasn't the perspective of everyday normal people. These were all elites. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
what would be considered, you know, well, new Rome, old Rome, whatever. It's like these are the elites of that of the time. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think it did a good job in certain areas, but we'll agree that it lacked in those areas where it could have been. They wasted time when they could have been actually focusing on these characters and like why it is really that they're dueling and what is it, and even like at the end when they're solving the issues we could have took more time on their dueling, like I said, their dueling ideologies, and you know focused on that more towards the end of how they you know how they come to a compromise, or you know how they end up, you know, seeing each other, at least seeing each other's points of views even if they don't totally agree with each other. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But I feel like it just wasted time in places.
Now let me ask you a question.
Okay.
'Cause I've been thinking about this. What was the point of him stopping time? Like, I feel like the movie would have been the exact same
If he didn't have that
without that,
power, yeah,
if he didn't have
100%.
that power.
And what the
So
fuck
what
is,
was the
I agree with
so
you.
what was the point of it?
I agree with you. I feel like the ability to stop time could have been used better and like more efficiently. If he has the ability, then what was the point? Because
Yeah,
it barely has anything to
just
do with the
uses it to
plot.
admire scenery, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
uh,
it. Like that's it. Just to look at stuff. That's what he does. Just to admire scenery. 100%, 100% agree with you. What was the point of what was the point of the time stop? Like a lot of shit in this movie didn't have to be here, but it was. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. Like there's I don't want to say a lot, but there's a bunch of stuff in this movie that didn't need to be there. This movie's a mess. This movie's messy, but it didn't stop me from enjoying it, man. And if you
yeah. I still
and
enjoyed
if you don't like this movie, you could go back to the club.
it.
But no, yeah, it definitely, I don't know. I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was cool. I believe 100% it's gonna have its audience. But there's gonna be a lot of people that dislike this movie. And I believe it might get garner more of a more fanfare as time progresses. There's a lot of movies like that where people see it the first time, they're like, bro, this movie is ass. This movie's garbage, trash. I didn't feel that way about Megalopolis. I may even like it more watching it a second time, getting more details that I missed from the first watch. But I can understand why people will not like this, and I can understand why people would think this is a masterpiece. I mean, there's going to be people on both ends. I am more on the side of this is more of a masterpiece than trash, but I can definitely understand. I definitely have my gripes with this movie, so I can understand why you can't consider it a masterpiece. You get what I'm saying?
Just that there's no. I just personally I cannot. There's just no way I would consider this a masterpiece. It doesn't. It. I feel like everything that it asks has already been explored many times over. Um, and I feel like it does it in a very messy way. I was still enjoyed throughout the whole movie. Like I still was engaged, you know. But no, I would not say this is a masterpiece. No.
Okay.
Maybe my opinion will change as I watch it more, but I do want to watch it again.
Absolutely.
But on that first initial viewing, no, 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 no.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, Eli, you want to leave it to the comment section and see what they're thinking?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have you seen Megalopolis? What are your thoughts on this movie? We'd love to know down below. And if you like this review, hit that like button. And if you want more content just like this, hit that subscribe button. As always, guys, we will catch you in the next video. Peace.